Well, welcome everybody to the Play It Forward podcast, an initiative brought together by Magic Bus. Magic Bus, for those who don't know, is an incredible organisation. Been going now for 27 years from very humble roots. Empowering young people, creating opportunity for those young people, both through education, through access to jobs, and doing that by using the incredible power of sport to inspire and to build the lives of marginalised, of young people in India in particular, but also using that experience elsewhere around the world as well. The organisation uses the concept of childhood to livelihood in terms of the young people that it's targeting, and incredibly has grown to an organisation that's affecting the lives of over 4 million young people a year throughout India and internationally. All of it using sport as this incredible tool. Now, one of the concepts around this to create this much impact is that obviously that type of thing can't be done alone. As a charitable organisation, we rely on an enormous number of passionate partners in order to address the issues of inequality, of unemployment, climate change, and gender equity that face all these incredible challenges that face young people as they grow up in this modern time. One of those incredible partners is the Manchester City Foundation, City Football Group, and we're delighted today to be able to welcome the International Programmes Manager, Gareth Hughes, representing Man City Foundation, to talk a little bit about the partnership with Magic Bus and some of the incredible programmes that we're able to do together. So Gareth, welcome to the podcast. It's fantastic to have you here, and thank you very much for making the trip to have a chat with us.
A pleasure, and thanks to Magic Bus for inviting me along.
Great. Senior International Programmes Manager for Man City Foundation, that has got to be, in the whole sort of scale of people who want to work in sport, amongst the best jobs you could possibly get, right? How on earth did you arrive in that particular role?
Yeah, it's a great job. I absolutely love it. It wasn't my intention to have a career in football, but it's something that happened by accident. I was sat in a job I didn't want to do one day and just decided that I needed to make a change, and football was something I've always loved, and that was something I ended up working in.
Fantastic. And were you in Manchester already, were you, and then just sort of made that transition?
Yeah, absolutely. I was in Manchester, and I had a kind of moment where I decided to do my football coaching badges. Along with that, I've started volunteering and bumped into people from Manchester City who gave me an opportunity to volunteer with them. And from that moment onwards, I've had 17 years with the football club as a full-time employee. It's just been amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what an incredible opportunity that ultimately was provided. Was there any sort of particular kicker, any point at time when it was like, wow, I've made it, or was this just a progression over that period as you sort of were looking for something else to be doing and something a bit more fulfilling?
I just wanted to do something that was fulfilling and giving back to people. And as soon as I started football coaching, I realised that the game is so powerful. How you can connect people and make them feel like they're having a great time and learning things is very rewarding. And from that moment on, I've done various different jobs. In the last 10 years, I've had this opportunity to work globally, and I've always loved travel. So to connect football and travel to my biggest passions has been a real honour.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, certainly, I think for the listeners to understand a little bit more, and from your perspective, from Man City Foundation's perspective, and even from Magic Bus as well, why sport? Why? What is it about sport that takes us from fans and the passion that so many people have, particularly for football around the world, into it being such a tool to inspire kids?
Yeah, I think sport is just an amazing thing for connecting people first and foremost. It brings people together from all walks of life for this common ground of enjoying the game. And I think when people take part in sport, they don't actually realise all the skills that they're learning. Teamwork, respect, and on that comes confidence that they don't even realise they're getting from the sport. And I think from that, people grow and they become leaders, and they realise that they can do so much because sport has given them this kind of belief and confidence in themselves, good communicators, good thinkers, good decision makers. And then when people go on to actually do more with that, they realise that they can actually make a change in their community with this people that they brought together through the game.
So what, I mean, Man City, obviously one of the world's top clubs. What can the very pinnacle of sporting excellence effectively bring to the table when it comes to sort of implementing that vision for how sport can be used like this?
Well, I think we just were very fortunate to be able to connect people through the love for Manchester City, the same as any grassroots club would, but we've got this privilege to be able to connect with our fans across the world, our fans in Manchester, and through that we can also work with partners and bring people together and do quite a lot. And this is in communities right across Manchester, which we've done for years and years. And over the last 10 years, we've been able to go and do this with communities where other people are experts in that community. It's their communities, but what we can do is support them, empower people, and those young people that we empower go on to do amazing things.
So how does that empowerment ultimately work? If you in obviously a local environment, local community, what does that actually mean in terms of Man City's position within that community?
Yeah, so we're fortunate to have support from our partners, which enables us to give grants to NGOs that we work across the world. The idea is that they empower healthier lives through football, so they uplift physical and mental health of young people. And we just let's kind of go on the expertise of each individual NGO. So what do they do? What's the social issues in their community? And how we can support is our expertise is football. So we can go and train those young people that deliver the projects and how to be a better football coach, give them the skills to be good role models. But it's really those young people across the world that are the ones that go out and make things happen and affect social change. So Magic Bus, for example, I've worked with many wonderful young leaders across many cities in India that just do amazing things, and all we do is just empower them, upskill them and support them.
I mean, that's one of the I guess the principles, isn't it? You've got both, you can imagine take coaches, players effectively to work with the young people in particular to coach them, but in actual fact that element of training coaches, training young people to then go on to inspire others and to take that experience and share it with much larger numbers of kids is quite a central component to the way you can drive, impact at scale. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. The charities that we work with can work with lots and lots of people. They know that the children, those children attending those programs are also, developing a lot of skills which might make them future leaders as they grow older. And then I think you're just creating positive communities, positive environments, people coming together to play the game, but doing so much more so they can be advocates in their communities, they can drive change, things that they want to see happen. So it's our model of kind of training those young people to deliver to young people.
I mean, Man City have had a huge impact on the work of Magic Bus over the last 13 years of the partnership. Can you tell us a little bit about the genesis of that partnership and what actually it looks like?
Yeah, well, it's been an absolute pleasure for all those years working with Magic Bus. We first started with a project in Kolkata, and most recently we've got 7 cities where we have projects with Magic Bus. And I think over those years we've had many different projects. We've worked with Etihad most recently in India specifically, and we had an amazing example of working with Xylem around wash and water hygiene in Bangalore. And that's been an opportunity where we actually took fans out to Bangalore to connect with community young leaders from Magic Bus. They were the kind of drivers on the ground working with the local school, the community, to install this water tower. And we developed a wash curriculum around football games that the young leaders delivered to educate young people around health and hygiene in water. So we've done lots of different things over the years. It's chopped and changed. But over those years, what's been consistent is the young leaders in Magic Bus. And seen some amazing things. I've seen them working with families that they do so well, connecting, providing opportunities for everyone to play, and really breaking down the barriers and making football inclusive and accessible for all, which is something that we really admire. It's a core value of ours, and it's why we've worked with them for so long.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because football could be said to be pretty tribal, at least in this country, and and elsewhere. You support this club or you support that club. How do you overcome? And yet the messages and the tools that we're applying here are very much around bringing those communities ultimately together. The values of Man City and Magic Bus in that context are really important there, in terms of using it as a connector, as you say.
Yeah.
Rather than sort of, dare I say it, sort of driving new fans for Man City. How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, we just go out and connect with people, and it's not about making them Manchester City fans. I think an example of how they might become a Manchester City fan is that they gravitate to that role model, and they see that role model, the person they look up to, the person that's teaching them how to play football, who's someone they like, who makes them laugh, who might bring them out of a difficult situation they live in at home for an hour a week. That person might be the person that they really look up to, and they might be wearing a Manchester City badge with the Magic Bus collaboration, and they might just say, well, that's the team I want to follow if they haven't got a team before. But it's certainly not for us about that. Like many football clubs, we just want to be out there connecting with our fans and communities, and I think we do it really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, obviously I know why Magic Bus, and we're I think the partnerships worked incredibly well as we over the years, and is testament to the 13 years it's been together. But how do you choose where you're going to work on that international basis?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of areas of the world that are kind of key followers of the Premier League for a start. So we have lots and lots of supporters clubs and fans across India. So it's always somewhere where we've always liked to work. And also we're driven a little bit by where our commercial partners would like us to have an impact with a project, for example. So the last couple of years, for example, Etihad really wanted us to be running projects in India, which is really good for us. Working with a trusted partner like we have, we've been able to expand to these 7 cities and celebrate that with a Young Leaders Summit, which we've had each year. So yeah, it's a number of things that leads us, but I think having a trusted partner on the ground is really important, and someone who, like I said, shares our core values.
You mentioned the summit. That's another aspect of the 7 cities and activities with coaches and even fans coming out and seeing what's going on, which is terrific. What about tell us a little bit about the summit?
Well, the summit started probably around 10 years ago in Manchester, and they were a huge event bringing people from all over the world with support of Etihad flights into Manchester for this week-long learning experience where they would learn around community football, project management, social impact, and leadership. And for me, they were particularly stressful, long hours, probably aged me 10 years as well. But I think they were very much like, I think everybody who works in this kind of work in football is they want to do it for other people. So for me, it was a pleasure because I got to see people arrive in Manchester and connect, which was really, really nice. And I think they connect and they realise that they're actually all doing these amazing things in their own cities. And when they come together, they share learnings. They realise that they're all doing things for other people. They're all selfless, and they take away lots of new skills from that week. So we did them in Manchester. We've done them in Abu Dhabi, and most recently we've done them in the US and India alone. And yeah, absolutely brilliant.
And the people who come to those are the kids or the coaches or their community coaches, community leaders?
Yeah, they're the community leaders, the young leaders from each project. So we invite them in. In India, for example, they'll fly into one city. So this year we had it in Mumbai. They arrive, we have social events, but most of the time we're out in the field upskilling them again and also learning from them, because it's a chance to see what other people bring, and that's how ideas are shared, and we always learn wonderful things from it. from the young
I'm
leaders.
sure. I was going to say, I mean, I wonder how much you take and your coaches take out of that experience in terms of, do they end up taking any of the things that they've learned there back to Manchester, or
Yeah.
even, dare I say it, back into the main sort of team and the way you train and coach?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's when I said about kind of the connection to music and things like that. We find that when people come from all different cities, there's lots of dancing, there's lots of ways of using football as a celebration, and it's not just actually playing the game; it's the social elements of it. And I think what we'd seen that week is that we have all sorts of different young leaders. So we have people that are very good at football coaching, but then we have people that are very good at managing things, listening, logistics. So I think what we see is different strengths from different people, and it's nurturing that and empowering them. That you don't have to be the greatest football coach to make an impact. It's who you are as a person, and what can you do. And I think it's just about praising them and making them realise that they're doing a wonderful thing. And it might feel quite lonely at times when they're out in the field putting cones down and nobody says thank you or nobody gives them praise. But I think those moments they do realise, I'm doing something really special here, and very rewarding, and should feel very proud of it.
So obviously the childhood to livelihood sort of mantra, if you like, of Magic Bus, clearly on the childhood side and football side is very close to what Man City is ultimately all about, the game of football. But obviously, as you've alluded to, it's as much the values, the lessons that it has to teach, and when it comes to livelihood and creating opportunities, how close is that to the core of the Man City Foundation in terms of not necessarily creating footballers, but creating good citizens with jobs and with access to opportunities in later life?
Absolutely, I think it's a massive core value of the community work we do. I think that football, first of all, is what brings people along to the sessions. It connects them, and then when you've got that captive audience and you've got those young role models, you can then actually do a lot more. So you can use the game to educate. It could be around, health. It can be around mathematics. You can use it in many wonderful things, and people probably won't even know they're learning because they're having such a good time, which is fantastic to see. And then that's when young leaders can be kind of creative with what they do. So I think we've seen how Magic Bus can use education, and most recently we heard from the 7 projects on what they were doing, and this was kind of a mid-year point where they would tell us about how many sessions had been running, etc. But it was so much more than that. It's actually, well, we've gone and done this in our community. We've gone and set up study corners. We've been advocates for more water deliveries in the community. We've done recycling. We've done cleanups. So I think once you've got that people together and they all feel part of something, then you can actually push subtly to educate people, and you can use the game, make it active, and then you can also do things outside of that in your community.
Yeah. A lot of the young people involved in certainly in the program are girls and young women, which is really important. I wonder if you might reflect on whether there's a connection between that focus and emphasis on particularly on having young girls in the program and staying in sport and staying in the program, and the growth of women's sport at the other end, at really almost the professional club end. Is there a connection? Do you see a connection in the future between what you do at the grassroots and the growth in particular of the women's game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a fast growing sport, so many people playing, and again, massive credit to Magic Bus for how they push this forward. We're aware of challenges people face in different communities across the world, and it might be educating parents, it might be speaking to communities, it might be quite frightening for people to kind of come into an environment they've not been in before. But again, it's those young role models, and we have within Magic Bus so many female role models that help push that forward and get people playing the game and breaking down barriers. And I think that is what we look for from our programs, is can you be kind of inclusive and have a mix of boys and girls. and also disabilities and things like that.
Mhm.
So how can you really make sure everyone's got access, everyone can play the game? And sometimes that can be difficult. It can be being inclusive can be challenging, and people might think, well, it's a little bit too difficult
Mm.
to actually break down that barrier, so we won't do it. But we always encourage people and work with them that, but how can you do more? How can you get more people playing? Have you thought of this or have you tried that? So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's kind of our core values.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And you mentioned a little bit earlier about Xylem and you obviously involve the whole club community, including your sponsors and partners. But they do get involved, do they? I mean, is that a kind of a prerequisite of them getting involved in the club as part of their sort of commitment to the values, or is that something that is more organic in terms of what those different partners want to do?
Yeah, those partnerships with the club, it's obviously up to those partners what they want to do, and our department is there to support them making an impact, and it's kind of our expertise as well. So we work with them and play to their strengths as well. So I mentioned kind of Etihad and the Summit, how they could help us bring people into Manchester. So it's a collaboration. It's working together with our strengths, which is the football and the community side of it, the NGO strength, which is knowing the community and those young role models, and the partner can really help with things like storytelling. And a good example was recently at the summit we had in Mumbai, where we had an Etihad pilot speak to young leaders, and very inspirational. Really got people thinking, and there's all sorts of wonderful things we can do with all partners. And I think when you kind of tell a story of a young person and they see themselves on screen, and it's a really nice moment because they are the ones that are out there doing it, and to celebrate their success and show the world that together with that partner and our NGO partner that this is who we've empowered and they're the ones that are actually making the difference.
Yeah, indeed. And I guess some partners are going to lend themselves more to this, but I imagine with the likes of Etihad getting involved, you are I'm hoping that they also inspire other sort of smaller partners, and it's great to see Xylem getting involved from a water perspective. Very appropriate to get more engaged with the local community, with the fans reaching out to them.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, all the organisations we work with, they love to come and volunteer and be involved on the ground as well. Obviously, they're very busy in what they do, but I think there's been examples of where we've had partners, staff being able to come along and volunteer and give their time, and they've just found it so rewarding because they're connecting again with young people. So we did this fan trip to Bangalore that I mentioned earlier, and just how everybody has such a good time and connects. Because they all love being there, learning from each other. There's no kind of hierarchy to it. It's just everybody supporting each other, learning, and everyone's there because they love football, which is what makes it
It's
so
that
special.
universal language, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. What about coming back to you personally in terms of your inspiration for this? You've obviously been at the club for a while, as you explained now, and a key driver of the partnership with Magic Bus. What is it that inspires you, and what have you seen that where you think, oh, okay, that's the reason I do my job?
I think it's just very rewarding, and I mean, I'll give you kind of the example of more of a human story. Was a young leader from Magic Bus one year in Manchester, and I was particularly exhausted and drained after a couple of days, and wondering how I'm going to get through the rest of this week with very little sleep. And this young leader, I won't name to embarrass her, but she kind of pulled me aside and said, "Could I speak to you?" And said that she'd arranged to have a call home to her mother to catch up during the summit, and they found some time. Her mum was very proud of her. She was the first time she'd obviously got on this plane and gone to Manchester, which was an amazing thing to do. When she made that call home, she said that she didn't expect it, but her mother had got 30 people from across the village that all wanted to see her in Manchester and celebrate her success. And she was very emotional telling me this, and I just thought, that's an example of, I might be tired and drained, but to see how much this has meant to her and then the impact it's had on her family. So it's this kind of lovely cycle of everybody doing things for other people. And I think that's what I get my inspiration from. And I just love connecting with all these different people across the world, and especially having the privilege to meet them and learn about their cultures and how they use football. And everyone's very welcoming, and it's why I've been there doing this.
I mean, one of the things, isn't it? I myself have found and seen is one thing engaging the young kids and giving them the opportunity, and those kids will tend to very gladly embrace everything, particularly in football, particularly when the coaches from Man City are coming, or that sort of thing. It's that bit harder to engage the parents who are obviously responsible for those young people and have aspirations for them, both sort of cultural and personal. That interaction with the parents of those young kids is really important.
Yeah, working with parents and teachers and community groups and leaders is really important. And it's that approach of everybody kind of working together and not in silo. And I think again, an amazing example I saw in Bangalore was where they had a parents session where they invited the parents along with the kids. And some of these parents had never had the opportunity to play when they were children, just to see how happy they were kicking this football around with their child. And it was just that education piece about the benefits of sport and how your child can actually learn so many skills that's going to help them in life, it's going to help them in school. And I think once people see that and realise, then it's infectious, and they have trust in letting their children continue to play the game.
I think that's one of the things that we see from Magic and is unseen in general is this obviously the focus is on young people and giving them the opportunity, but those lessons transcend age, into the parents,
Absolutely.
even to the grandparents. There's opportunities and the excitement, the inspiration, the kind of the change in behaviour and attitude as to what those kids are able to do and should be able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just amazing to see, and there's programs that have been developed over the years, like walking football we have in Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
We also might be a game that's new to people, and we kind of, when we deliver our training, it's about showing that yes, you can deliver football for most people, but how can you deliver football for maybe older people, for really small children, people with disabilities? So how can you push yourself to make an environment inclusive? And that is things like setting up parent sessions, for example. And it's always just trying to get people to have a think about, I could be the person that actually sets this up in my community.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't kind of say, go and do this. It's like, you could do this, and we're going to show you how you do it, and we'll leave that with you. And often we hear back about, amazing young leaders have set up such and such a session that's now doing this, and it's great to hear.
Well, I think that that sort of inspiration again to the young people that we see in India at Magic Bus, and giving them the opportunity to then go back into their own communities and do exactly that. And there have been numerous organisations that have been spin-offs, if you like, taking all that learning and then applying it as a local organisation. One of my questions to you was going to be, what do you, if you had that opportunity with a young person at a Magic Bus program in India, what would be your advice to those young people in terms of everything, all the experiences that you've had to convey to them? How would you bring all that down into sort of the last thing you get to say to that young person before you leave?
Yeah, I think it's just that they're doing a great job, and maybe that's this is just part of their journey as being a community coach. They may go on to do something completely different, but what they will have taken from it is those skills that's going to set them up. And they're going to be good communicators, good thinkers. They're going to be good decision makers, because that's what sport teaches us. It's about, we have to make decisions, and those decision making is a really cool key thing to have in life. So I think for any kind of young leaders that we work with, my advice would just be like, focus on how well you're doing, what you're doing, how you're impacting others, and just take a moment to step back and focus on the skills that you have, because they're very transferable to whatever you want to do in life. Some people may end up being a coach all their lives. Some people we've worked with have gone on to be doctors, dentists, all sorts of different things. But they will always say that, this is what helped them a lot, is being involved in sport as a starting point.
Amazing. Amazing. And I guess finally, what's next? What are your aspirations for the future in terms of the foundation and the impact that you're having? You know, not just in Manchester, but around in India and around the world.
Yeah, we obviously just want to continue doing what we're doing and take what any opportunities come along to us, because in football everything changes. So we go with what's happening, and we try and create positive environments for people. And I think for people in the future, it's just about how can you continue to break down these barriers, and how can people really make things more inclusive, make more opportunities for everyone to play the game. And that's what I'd hope from the future for everyone involved in this, is that they keep pushing to make it, the sport that is accessible for everybody.
Indeed, indeed. And I think that's very much aligned to Magic Bus's aspirations to continue to reach as many young people as we possibly can throughout India. Listen, Gareth, I think what we've articulated in this conversation has been fascinating to chat with you. Is just quite how important that partnership element is, and what partners like Man City can bring to bear in terms of not just the expertise, but perhaps more importantly, the connection of values ultimately that is so crucial to long-term partnerships, and clearly that's played out over the last 13 years, and we definitely hope for many more to come. I mean, there's obviously incredible work being achieved throughout not just the 7 locations, but that wider impact that it's having. We've talked about amongst the sort of the adults of the kid, parents of the kids, let alone the summit and that sort of stuff, and long may that continue. We're thrilled to be a partner of yours, and very much look forward to sort of continuing to progress that in the future.
Yeah.
So that's I think that draws us to a close of this particular podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it, and this fascinating conversation. Got some understanding of what Magic Bus do, but of course also how that's enabled by this wonderful partnership that we enjoy with Man City. And all I'd say is encourage anybody listening to, if you've got further questions or take more interest, then please do get involved both with Man City Foundation, what they're doing, and with Magic Bus. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Gareth, thanks ever so much for your time.
Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you.